The heck?
Wow, this was way too easy. Isn't that what they say about love? When it works, it's just easy. About Tara.
Do you know what this means, Raven? That you are completely nutso!
We never realized you are so in the love with Beast Boy.
I am so sorry, Tara, but I guess jealousy just makes people do crazy things.
When I show you the evidence.
Okay, thanks for stopping in again. Myth, lore, and aliens and more. And I wanted to get into this reaction to the opening episode of It, Welcome to Derry. And right off the bat, man, I'm not even gonna lie. This is one of the scariest shows I've ever seen. Like, to me, the opening scene especially. And I'm going to go into detail about that because there's some madness going on in this series, man. Like, they are not messing around in Derry. And we knew this about Derry in the first place. And I've done a couple of videos just kind of talking about what's going on in Derry. And it's prevalent. I'm telling you, man, it's insane that we got a place where, like, the children there are routinely getting their asses beat by their parents, right? Like, just there's always some level of abuse. And there's some things that I'm going to parallel in this film, and the first one is I want to get into this kid here, right? So this is Matty right here, who's the missing kid. You know, so he does have some repetitive themes. Like, this stuff must have really been cracking off in Derry, because he's always got these themes of like lots of child abduction. Like, child abduction is just it's riddled. It is riddled. Derry is riddled with kids getting snatched in various ways. We saw in it, like, the kid getting lured into the sewers. I remember that. This kid is hitchhiking, but you know, it ties a lot of themes in together because it's like, oh yeah, why is this kid like running away from home? Well, okay, his face is all bruised up, like his dad's been beating his ass, and it's pretty apparent, right? So we don't even have to you know, get into that. Like, that's 100% real. So anytime you see a kid, right, and you know, they've been going through it like that, you know, you can see, like, this kid's like anywhere but Derry. And it absolutely makes sense if you think about what he's doing. You know, you're a young boy, and remember the girl in the movie It, who was also being abused by her father, right? So, kid, if you zoom in on Matty, he's got all kind of bruises on his face and stuff like that. Like, you getting punched, you getting checked like just a grown man, which is crazy. So this kid's so desperate that he's out at night. Now, what he was doing and how it ties in together, and you know, no spoiler alerts, but spoiler alerts, right? He is, you know, heavily tied into the other kids because he's kind of friends with them, but he gets ostracized. So there's a couple of things that are going on, you know, with him socially, but he understands that the root of all this problem is the town of Derry, and he identified. I don't know if this kid, he's got to be like 8 years old, 10. Maybe the kids are like 10, 11 years old. They're old enough to kind of know what's going on, you know, but still be trapped by it. Like, they're not teenagers where they can even really think about, you know, breaking free and getting out. All right, let's see. I'm sorry, I'm just setting up for the Derry.
Para este trabajo debes tener resistencia a nivel olímpico, un fino sentido estético, capacidad de adaptación, estilo y ropa moderna, y conocimiento sobre tendencias relevantes de los años 2000.
All right, so now I'm complete, man. I'm complete right now. So, okay, we're good. Okay. Okay. So again, we start off and we got Matty, and we see Matty up here, man, and he's on the breakout. At this point, he's trying to bone out because he's getting it so bad. So the scene starts off with him in the movie theater, which is kind of a central point. And they get deep into the movie theater. So this kid right here is like, I gotta bone out. And what does he run into but, this family right here. So this is the setup for the opening scene, like the real terrifying part. We see him in the movie theater, so we kind of get this establishing as like this troubled kid. And then so he's hitchhiking. And anytime you see a kid hitchhiking, man, it ain't good, man. Kids hitchhiking at night. Kids don't typically do that, man. Kids don't at 8, 10 years old ain't really trying to bone away, run away from home. So we see that there's a lot going on already with this young man. So I start feeling it. So he gets in his car, and this family, in typical Derry, classic Derry style, it seems like a normal family. You got a mom and dad up front, right? You got they're at the 2.5 kids. You can see Matty's on the left of the screen here, right? Screen left or right for me, and you see the other two, the children, right? So the 2 kids, and she's pregnant. So literally 2.5 kids. So they're not even playing with their imagery or their symbolism, because Derry is all about this small town environment. So you see this kind of family, what most of us would think of as safe, right? Especially in this time. Right, the nuclear family is still alive and popping. So he gets in the car, and man, was this not the worst mistake of this kid's life? Like this was some stuff that will make you go back to your abusive dad, which is what a lot of these kids end up having to do when they're staying at the crib with the parents, with the paternals, right? But what happens is pretty quickly they decide to show him that, hey, we're not normal, right? And like the young daughter starts tripping, and I got some more of the images, right? The young daughter starts tripping. The young son really starts. This is where they start revealing themselves, right? Like the kooky images, like they got kooky eyes. So you already know what's coming next, right? So you see this kooky-eyed image of this little boy in here. And then Matty, he's now trapped in here. This is where it's really, really problematic. Because I don't know how they have auto-lock doors on a car in the 50s, but somehow they locked his ass in here. And this is where it all starts going bad. So you're already, it's great storytelling because I'm into Matty, right? I'm feeling Matty. Like you're at the movie theater, you're getting beat down by your pops. Like this is like a 45-minute, episodes. This is a good, long, lengthy episode. So they can do things like, develop the story and kind of build it along. So, man, they got Matty, and, pretty quickly, like within a few minutes, he starts seeing a strange behavior. And then the mother actually legitimately gives birth in the car, in the whip, right? In the whip. You see her, starting to convulse. I'm trying to see if I grabbed an image of it, man, so you can see this stuff. But man, I'm telling you, it's insane. I might have grabbed a little brief video. Let me see if I can throw this in here without getting any copyright stuff linked on me. You know how they do. But let's just take a look at this real quick. And it's just like, that's the baby coming out. That's it right there. And here's the thing. I haven't watched too many things. Hello, Charmo, by the way. I haven't seen a lot of things that made me really just look away. But this first scene, man, I watched a lot like this, man, because I really wasn't trying to see this. And I'm not going to leave this image up here too much longer, right? But let's play it again. You can just see that's where the baby comes out, right? So now what we get out of this is truly this demon baby, right? We get this demon, straight up demon-y baby, right? Let me see if I can grab a good image of this baby. So this is what comes up out of this woman right here. This baby. Now, this baby got wings, right? This baby got 2 heads. And this baby has a bad attitude right off the bat. So this baby's giving you the trifecta of everything that you could possibly not want in a baby, right? And it's buck wobbling. The umbilical cord is still attached to the baby, and the baby is literally flying around, this classic vehicle, right? This is a classic station wagon. So they're giving you everything that's classic small town America. And that's really, this is Stephen King. He's really reflecting a lot about where he's coming from. So now you in the car, and this baby's just flying around like it ain't got nothing else to do, man. And this is real. This is as real as it gets right here. So you see Matty, and now you're terrified. The family's already shown themselves to be completely kooky, right? They're singing, and while the baby's coming, like he's screaming, "I want out," And the baby, she's like, oh, somebody else also wants out. And the baby, and it comes right then. This is one of the fastest deliveries I've ever seen because this baby's born in like a couple of minutes. But again, you know, you a demon baby. And a demon baby is a whole different thing. And just a side note, nothing scares me more than a demon baby. I don't know what it is about something that crawls on the ground at you really fast that freaks me out. But any episode of like a possessed demon, even that baby from Z Nation, that little zombie, I'm freaked out by that. So as soon as I see this, I'm not expecting it to come. And remember, I get Kooky Eye Kid first, then I get this, then this baby's jumping out acting like it's supposed to be on the scene. But anyway, this is the whole setup. So now you're Matty, and at this point, I'm not sure what's going to happen to Matty, but we know it's about to all be bad, right? That's just what it is for Matty. That's your lot in life, is like, it's not going to be good. Things are not going to go your way, right? So I'm going to give you a little preview of this scene just because I got it on video. Let me see if I can bring it up here. Let me see. Should be it here. Let's take a look at this clip right here, man. Get some of this other stuff out here. Jeez, man, I'm telling you, man. What they'll show you in these shows now, man. All right, hang on. Hang on. I'm trying to get this clip here for you guys. Let me add it here. Okay, I don't think I've got that clip, damn it. I wanted to find that. But it goes to the whole birth of this kid. And it's just a terrifying scene inside the car that really gets after it. But this whole baby... So let's talk a little bit about the crew. Because after we get past these scenes, so this is how Matty comes up missing, right? In this car, this demon baby's born. You can see, like... If you can see these images, man, he's inside with this little fucking demon baby who's flying around. And finally, it must take off his head. It seems like they kill Matty. You see him pressed up against the window. He can't get out. And you just see, like, the baby head just fly out. So, you know, we get some other stuff out of Matty that I'm sure Matty didn't want. And that's really what his fate is. So now you're missing. And this is where we start getting introduced to what I call the new loser crew. Because the loser crew is very similar to what we've seen in the previous It movies. And I'm going to show you the primary crew, you know, this is your primary crew right here. So we got, you know, Lily, we got a couple of the guys here, and then the sister, and then the young black guy would join them. And Matty was their friend. So Matty's kind of the unifying aspect for all of them. Obviously, the missing kid is always the one that kind of brings everybody together, right? We know that. So that's what the mission that he serves. So they're all like, they got to look for him. The little girl wants to look for him because this happens at, you know, her father was the one who was a projectionist at the theater. So after Matty gets kidnapped or comes up missing, of course, they're always talking to her. The other ones are looking for him because Matty has been their friend. Kind of a social outcast a little bit, but still this was their guy, right? So they're looking for Matty, and this is what bonds the crew together. Now, what kind of like, you know, I'm kind of surprised is that there's similarities to the old loser crew. They kind of maintain the same kind of ratio. You got the one girl who, I think her name is Lily. She's the one being abused. Or her father is gone, right? And it's messed up because, like, the bullying in this town is just insane. So the main young lady, her father is gone, which reminds me of Beth in the original Losers, right? That's kind of what her scenario was. You had to, you know, her father was abusive, so there's always some kind of, you know, father-daddy issues that are going on with the kids. And that's where she comes at it, right? Is that she's the one who is enduring this. Enduring, like, you know, not having a father and getting bullied for it. So that kind of brings the crew together. Then you have a couple of boys. The Jewish kid, which is pretty prevalent. You have the fast-talking, you know, kind of thin, got the tall guy there. So what Stephen King's doing is he's repeating a lot of his characters, but clearly he's trying to tell a point. And then you have the girl who's the black girl, right? We see her up in there. And that, you know, so you have the same kind of dynamics that are all pulling together from the previous crew, you know, the losers crew that we're used to, and this new crew that's being introduced. So their challenges are the same. And again, every generation there's a slew of like missing kids that don't nobody do nothing about. That's the thing about Derry, because they always forget. But the town itself is just insidious. The town is sitting like on top of these sewers, and this is a portal for straight up evil. And no place gets worse than Derry. Like, I did a couple of where would I want to live at, Derry or the the Overlook Hotel, and it's clearly the Overlook Hotel over this nonsense that goes on here. So the repetitive themes in Derry stay very consistent. And as far, like I said, as far as an opening scene, there haven't been too many films or movies or television shows that I'm like, in the opening scene, I'm like, man, I can't see this, I can't look at this. But I was showing you guys what the imagery was and kind of why. So again, like, it brings these kids together, and it's always kids. And it makes me think, like, what was Stephen King? What were you going through in your childhood that this is the stuff that you came up with, right? And for some reason, he's reflecting in the stories. So I don't know what's going on with Derry, but I can tell you a little bit about Stephen King already. Is that clearly you had a couple black friends. Clearly you would hang out with the gay kid in town. Clearly you were on the outsider. So like the integration of all these, different personalities is very prevalent. So this is a good shot of your main crew and kind of what's going on. Now, there's also this military capacity going on in Derry, because it's all about the small towns that hide all this stuff. Remember, in Derry, the government lies to you, the police lie to you, the mayor lies to you, everybody lies about everything 100% of the time, because they're never in sync with what's actually fucking going on in Derry. So this is your main crew. They bring in the sister, the other tall guy, but these are the ones who are really going to bear the trauma. And of course, Matty's right at the center of it. Now, there's a component with the guy at the Air Force Base, and we're going to figure out what's going on. But there's clearly something going on with this military testing that's going to tie into it, right? And this is kind of odd for a small town of this size. But the story still centers around a lot of like just social issues. Again, like, getting bullied, right? That's the kind of town that Derry is, where you're going to get bullied if you're not on the inside, the inside crew. So there's a lot of that. There's a lot of social angst. And I think for an opening scene, it was just impactful, because now you've established some new mythology with this two-headed batwing demon baby, and also like this is a whole new aspect of that evil manifesting in Derry. We're used to, and man, I'm telling you, man, like, these kids got it rough here, man. I can't imagine anybody growing up in this town. Like I said, man, if you see an 8-year-old kid hitchhiking out of town, I'm not saying pick up a stranger kid by himself, but damn, if a kid's trying to bone out to that degree, it's something really, really going on. And that's what it is. And so he's trying to escape this fate and runs into something that's even worse. How it's even worse than Derry, I don't know. But you see your main crew, these 3 kids are together, with the other players and a little sister that gets involved. So what we see is like the manifestation of this like all their trauma. They're all bearing this different type of trauma, like an oppressive home, violence in the home, and what Stephen King is really telling us a lot about the environment that he saw around him. So Derry's very consistent in what it does. Derry's homophobic. Derry's racist. Derry's very child molesty. Like, all that stuff goes on in Derry, and there's a demon influence going on in the background as well, which is probably what's really motivating all this. The demon influence is what's turning all these people right into these demons. So I got a full thumbs up on this episode, man. I'm very pleased how they came at it the first time. Like I said, for me, I'm not scared a lot, but man, this is getting too scary for me. I couldn't really tolerate it much more. But I'm excited about the series. I'm really looking forward to it. No real spoiler alerts. I know you guys kind of know what's happening. Other than Matty's going to be the one missing, but you knew somebody was going to get shanked. You knew somebody was going to end up in the sewers, right? That just is going to happen in Derry every single time, and that's the repetitive cycle of what it is. So a great intro into the show that really kind of falls in line with, what we've seen out of the It series. So it really blends these two worlds together almost seamlessly. If you like the initial, losers or the losers from the more modern movies, you're gonna enjoy this, because you get that same kind of feeling out of it. And these kids are going to be doing the same thing. You can see they're already lined up in the sewer, right? Everybody's accounted for, except obviously Matty, right? So we see what this crew is going to look like, how they're going to have to stand. Every one of them's got their trauma, right? Although this tall kid, like, I don't know what his trauma is yet. That's just his sister. This kid here, this is the Jewish kid in the crew, and he's dealing with some weird stuff going on in his own family. you know, yeah. So he's struggling, and this girl, her, I think her name is Ronnie. You know, it affected her family personally. This murder, and she was the first one. You see, there's a scene where they're trying to run Matty out of the theater, and she comes in. She's protected, so she kind of pulls herself into this, and the rest of the crew just kind of go ahead and brings her in. Now, what's going on with all these kids is that Matty is speaking to them, right? Matty is like he's in the pipes because they're in the sewer. Like Matty got pulled into the sewer. So now all they want to do is kind of reach people. It's like people in jail, like you're in jail and you're talking to the sewer pipes. That's all they want to do is reach out to you. But I'm too scared to hear this. So every single one of them is experiencing these like horrific events because their friend Matty is reaching out to them. Like this scene, which is kind of, you know, really the staple for the series. You know, Lily's scream here. That's in her bathroom, man. That's because he's coming through the pipes trying to talk to her. And a lot of stuff that goes on in this series, if it ever happened to me, I understand they're hallucinations. If it ever happened to me, I'm shut down. I can't mentally handle anything beyond this. So how these kids are expected to like see these images and see this and still go on in life is utterly shocking to me. And I guess that goes into the whole theme of what Derry is, where you block out any type of bad memories, right? You're going to block all that stuff out because you just, you know, to allow it into your head, allow it to function. That's not what Derry's all about, right? So again, like this is your opening scene. It sets it up, right? A lonely kid walking down the street by himself. And that tells you everything about Derry, man. Kids are trying to escape this town because that's how bad it is. And it's going to live up to 100% of the hype. I still wonder, man, what's really going on inside of Stephen King's noodle that you consistently come up with this. But it's executed very well. If you're into horror, you're going to absolutely dig this show. First episode in, they get right off the bat and get into some real horror. Like I said, within that first 10 minutes, they really hooked me because of how far they went. And I kind of forgot that it was HBO. So their limitations aren't what we get. It's like a broadcast show. So that's one of the things. When HBO takes on something like this, like they did with Game of Thrones, they really sell it all out, man. So it was a real deep one. Really like this episode. They're going to give you a lot. It's like 46 minutes, I think, in runtime. And just an excellent thrill ride the entire way. So, anyway, I've done some breakouts on Derry. If you go into my videos, you'll probably see some history of Derry. And I'll get into profile on the characters as the weeks progress and as I start to learn more about the characters. But always hit that like and subscribe. If you enjoy talking about sci-fi, myth, lore, that's what I'm doing all day long. I'm waking up early to catch people, you know, heading out so we get a little live stream in. But I'm going to get into some production in a little bit. But hit me up if you have some questions. I appreciate everyone stopping in. It's okay to be active. It's okay to hit me up, be part of the conversation, because I'm looking to build this channel. But thanks for stopping in, and we'll be back shortly. But if you miss anything in the meantime, just go through and check out what I got going for you guys.